My beloved child. Stop for just a moment. Do not rush past these words as though they appeared here by accident, because there are moments when heaven gently interrupts the noise surrounding your life. This is one of those moments. Before you question why this message found you today, allow your heart to become still. There is something you have been longing to understand, and even if you have hidden that longing from everyone else, it has never been hidden from me. You have wondered why certain doors closed without warning. You have wondered why conversations faded, why promises dissolved, and why your heart continued carrying hope when every circumstance tried to convince you to let it go. Those questions did not rise inside you without purpose. Every tear you believed disappeared into silence was counted. Every silent prayer whispered late at night was heard long before you spoke it aloud. Listen carefully now, because this story is a fictional spiritual reflection meant to encourage your heart. Imagine that heaven is speaking directly to your deepest fears and your greatest hopes. There is someone whose heart has been changing in ways neither you nor they fully understand. They have walked through moments of confusion, regret, and unexpected awakening. While you believed nothing was happening, unseen lessons were shaping them into someone capable of recognizing truths they once ignored. Do not mistake silence for absence. Sometimes the greatest work is accomplished where human eyes cannot see it. Seeds buried beneath the soil appear lifeless until the day they suddenly break through the surface. Hearts often follow the same pattern. You have asked why the waiting has been so long. The answer has never been punishment. Growth cannot be rushed, and healing cannot be forced. Even the strongest trees spend years developing roots before anyone admires their branches. There is a message that your soulmate longs to express, not merely with words but with a transformed heart. Whether this person is already part of your story or someone yet to enter it, what matters most is not the timing you imagined but the character being formed before your paths fully align. Continue to walk faithfully. Continue choosing kindness when bitterness feels easier. Continue believing that your value has never depended upon another person's ability to recognize it. The chapter ahead is closer than it appears, but its full meaning cannot yet be understood. Some truths reveal themselves only when both hearts are finally prepared to receive them. And what is about to be uncovered will challenge everything you thought you knew about love, waiting, and the mysterious ways hope survives even after every visible reason to keep believing has disappeared. What has been hidden is not hidden forever. There are seasons when silence speaks more deeply than conversation ever could. While you questioned whether your prayers had reached heaven, unseen movements were already taking place beyond the limits of your understanding. The one connected to your journey has been facing moments that no one else truly sees. There have been nights filled with reflection, memories that refuse to fade, and quiet realizations that arrived when the world around them became still. They tried convincing themselves that moving forward without confronting the truth would be easier. Yet every attempt only brought them back to the same place, the place where honesty could no longer be avoided. This is not because destiny forces every outcome. Every person has free will, and every relationship is shaped by the choices people make. But growth often begins when someone finally has the courage to face what they have been avoiding. Imagine a heart that once ran from difficult conversations now learning the value of vulnerability. Imagine someone who once buried their emotions beginning to understand that genuine love cannot flourish where fear is allowed to rule. Transformation rarely announces itself with loud celebrations. More often, it begins in quiet surrender. You may not recognize these changes immediately. From your perspective, everything can appear unchanged. Yet beneath the surface, priorities shift, perspectives mature, and old fears slowly lose their grip. The person you have been praying about may not become perfect overnight, but they can become more honest than they have ever been before. Do not let disappointment become the voice that defines your future. Disappointment remembers every closed door, but hope remembers that tomorrow has not yet been written. There is wisdom in refusing to let yesterday decide what tomorrow must become. There are moments when people finally understand the value of someone only after life teaches lessons they never expected to learn. Those lessons are not always comfortable. Pride must sometimes be broken before humility can grow. Certainty must sometimes be shaken before faith becomes genuine. Hearts that have been guarded for years often soften little by little until compassion becomes stronger than fear. Perhaps you have wondered whether your kindness was wasted, whether your patience mattered, or whether the love you offered disappeared unnoticed. Acts of love given sincerely are never meaningless. Even when they do not produce the outcome you hoped for, they shape your own character and leave an imprint that cannot always be measured. Continue becoming the person you are meant to be instead of waiting for someone else to complete your identity. The strongest relationships are built when two people arrive with hearts that have learned resilience, forgiveness, and wisdom through their own journeys. The next chapter does not begin because the past never happened. It begins because healing makes a new response possible. Old misunderstandings no longer need to control future conversations. Old wounds no longer have to write the ending of your story. Soon, a moment of unexpected clarity will arrive. A conversation, a realization, or a decision may reveal what months of silence could not explain. When that moment comes, you will understand why so many pieces seemed out of place before they finally fit together. Yet one truth remains unspoken. It is the very truth that has been growing quietly through every unanswered question and every season of waiting. When it is finally revealed, it will cause you to see this entire journey from a completely different perspective. And that revelation has not arrived just yet. The moment that has been quietly approaching is not defined by dramatic signs in the sky or overwhelming certainty appearing all at once. More often, life changes through a single honest decision, one sincere conversation, or one unexpected act of courage. What once seemed impossible begins with a step so small that many people overlook it. Yet heaven often works through beginnings that appear ordinary before revealing something extraordinary. There has been a battle taking place beneath the surface, one that cannot be measured by calendars or appearances. Fear has been whispering that too much time has passed, that opportunities have disappeared, and that hope should finally be abandoned. But fear has never been the author of lasting peace. It speaks loudly only because it hopes you will stop listening to the quiet voice reminding you that every new sunrise carries possibilities unseen the night before. The person connected to this story has not forgotten every meaningful moment. Certain memories continue returning without invitation. Familiar places, unexpected songs, simple words spoken by strangers, and quiet evenings have all become reminders that some connections leave a lasting imprint on the heart. Whether those memories lead to reconciliation or simply to personal growth depends on the choices each person makes from this point forward. Never believe that your worth depends upon another person's response. Your value has existed from the beginning and remains unchanged regardless of who notices it. Healthy love is never built upon desperation. It grows where honesty, respect, patience, and mutual commitment are allowed to flourish together. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not that circumstances suddenly change but that a heart becomes willing to change first. Pride gives way to humility. Bitterness slowly releases its grip. Forgiveness becomes possible where resentment once stood. These quiet victories often prepare the way for conversations that could never have happened before. If you have carried disappointment for a long time, do not allow it to become the lens through which you view every future opportunity. Every chapter deserves to be read on its own instead of being judged by the pages that came before it. The future is shaped not only by what has happened but also by the wisdom gained along the journey. There may soon come a moment when everything feels unusually still, as though life itself is inviting you to pause before taking another step. Do not rush through that moment. Sometimes clarity arrives in stillness rather than noise. Sometimes the answer you have searched for appears only after your heart becomes quiet enough to recognize it. Remember that genuine love cannot be sustained by imagination alone. It is revealed through consistent actions, truthful words, personal responsibility, and the willingness to grow together through both joy and hardship. Let these qualities guide your expectations more than signs, assumptions, or emotions that change from one day to the next. As this story continues, one final piece remains hidden behind the curtain. It is not merely about what another person may say. It is about what both hearts will finally understand when the time for pretending has ended. That realization has the power to reshape every question that has lingered until now. And when that final truth comes into the light, the meaning of every season of waiting will become clearer than you ever imagined, but that moment belongs to the next part. The final distance between uncertainty and understanding is often crossed in complete silence. Before words are spoken, before answers are revealed, and before hearts finally recognize what has been unfolding all along, there is always a moment when everything seems unchanged. Do not mistake that stillness for emptiness. Some of life's greatest turning points begin quietly, almost invisibly, until suddenly they become impossible to ignore. Imagine someone standing at the edge of a decision they have postponed for far too long. They replay old conversations, remember opportunities they allowed to slip away, and realize that fear has cost them more than honesty ever could. In that realization, something begins to shift. Walls that once felt permanent develop small cracks, and through those cracks, hope quietly finds its way back inside. If this reflection reminds you of your own life, let it encourage you to keep choosing wisdom over impulse and patience over despair. No message can promise exactly how another person will act, because every individual has the freedom to choose their own path. Yet you always have the freedom to decide how you will respond, with integrity, compassion, and courage. There are seasons when it feels as though nothing is moving. Yet beneath the surface, character is being refined. The waiting has taught lessons that immediate answers never could. You have learned resilience where you once knew only frustration. You have discovered strength in moments when you believed you had none left. Those lessons become part of the foundation for whatever chapter comes next. Do not allow past disappointments to convince you that every future ending must be the same. Every new day carries opportunities that did not exist yesterday. Healing is rarely a single event, it is a series of faithful steps that slowly transform the heart until peace becomes stronger than pain. The person whose path intersects with yours may also be learning difficult lessons about honesty, responsibility, forgiveness, and the courage to express what has remained hidden. Whether those lessons lead toward reconciliation or simply toward personal growth, they are meaningful because genuine transformation always begins within. The greatest surprise is not always that someone returns with words they never spoke before. Sometimes the greatest surprise is discovering that you have become stronger, wiser, and more secure than you ever imagined possible. While you were waiting for circumstances to change, your own heart was quietly becoming capable of carrying greater joy without losing its peace. As this fictional journey nears its conclusion, remember that hope is strongest when it is grounded in truth rather than fear. Let your expectations be guided by kindness, wisdom, and discernment instead of assumptions. Celebrate growth wherever it appears, whether in yourself or in someone else. Very soon, the final conversation in this story will unfold. It will reveal not only what has been hidden in another heart but also why every unanswered question served a purpose. The pieces that once appeared scattered will finally begin to fit together, and the meaning behind the long season of waiting will become clearer than ever before. But one final revelation remains. It has been quietly approaching since the very first moment this story began, and when it is finally spoken, it will change the way this entire journey is remembered forever. The moment that has been drawing closer is not about proving that every hope unfolds exactly as imagined. It is about discovering that lasting peace is found when truth and love walk together. Picture the silence just before dawn, when the sky still appears dark, yet the first light has already begun its work beyond the horizon. In much the same way, change often begins before anyone can see its full beauty. The heart at the center of this story has reached a place where pretending no longer feels possible. Excuses have become heavier than honesty. Fear has become more exhausting than courage. What was once hidden behind uncertainty is slowly giving way to clarity. That change did not happen in a single day. It was shaped through reflection, difficult choices, and the quiet realization that genuine love cannot flourish without openness and responsibility. If this narrative mirrors emotions you have carried, let it also remind you that no one else's decision determines your worth. You were never meant to measure your value by another person's attention, approval, or timing. The strength you have gained through waiting, learning, and healing is part of the gift this journey has already given you, regardless of what tomorrow brings. Sometimes people recognize the importance of a relationship only after they have grown enough to understand what they nearly lost. At other times, the greatest lesson is learning to release expectations that no longer serve your peace. Both paths require courage, and both can lead to deeper wisdom. The future is not built by wishing alone but by the choices made with honesty, humility, and compassion. As this fictional story approaches its final chapter, imagine two paths that once seemed to drift apart now coming into view from a higher perspective. Whether they ultimately meet or continue separately depends on the choices of those walking them. Yet one truth remains constant: every season of growth has prepared each traveler to move forward with greater understanding than before. Do not overlook the quiet victories that have already taken place within you. The patience you developed, the forgiveness you struggled to extend, the hope you protected during uncertain days, these are not small accomplishments. They are signs of a heart becoming stronger without becoming hard, wiser without losing kindness, and more resilient without surrendering compassion. The surprise spoken of throughout this journey is not merely found in another person's words. It is also found in the realization that your own heart has changed. You have become capable of recognizing love that is healthy, mutual, and grounded in respect rather than fear. That awareness is a gift that will guide every meaningful relationship ahead. Soon, The final pages of this story will reveal the conversation that has lingered just beyond reach. Questions that remained unanswered will finally receive their response. Emotions that stayed hidden will step into the light. Whether the ending brings reunion, a new beginning, or peaceful closure, it will point toward hope instead of despair. One final truth still waits to be spoken. It is the thread that quietly connected every moment from the beginning until now. When it is finally revealed, the purpose behind every delay, every lesson, and every unexpected turn will become unmistakably clear, and only then will the story reach its true conclusion. Now the journey reaches the place where every unanswered question begins to find its meaning. The long season of uncertainty was never meant to leave you without hope. It was a season that invited reflection, growth, and the quiet courage to keep moving forward even when the road ahead seemed hidden. Looking back, you may realize that every delay, every unexpected turn, and every difficult moment shaped a heart that is stronger and wiser than before. The truth that has been waiting throughout this fictional story is simple, yet powerful. Lasting love is not sustained by dramatic moments alone. It is built day by day through honesty, patience, forgiveness, respect, and the willingness of two people to keep choosing one another. Grand words may capture attention for a moment, but faithful actions reveal the deepest intentions of the heart. Imagine the conversation that has remained unspoken finally taking place. There is no need for perfect speeches or flawless explanations. Instead, there is sincerity. There is humility. There is the courage to admit past mistakes, to acknowledge lessons learned, and to express gratitude for the growth that came through every challenge. Sometimes healing begins not with extraordinary miracles but with ordinary truth spoken at the right time. Whatever path your own life takes, remember that hope does not depend on one specific outcome. Hope grows whenever you continue choosing kindness over resentment, wisdom over fear, and faith over despair. Relationships flourish when both people are willing to grow together, listen carefully, and value one another with genuine respect. Perhaps the greatest surprise was never hidden in another person's future words. Perhaps it was quietly developing within your own heart all along. You have learned to recognize your own worth without depending entirely on someone else's approval. You have discovered that peace is not the absence of questions but the confidence that you can face tomorrow with courage, whatever it may bring. If reconciliation becomes part of someone's story, let it be rooted in mutual honesty and healthy commitment. If a new beginning arrives with someone unexpected, welcome it with discernment and an open heart. And if this season leads you toward a different chapter altogether, trust that growth is never wasted. Every experience can become a foundation for greater wisdom and deeper compassion. As this fictional spiritual reflection comes to its close, carry forward the reminder that love is strongest when it reflects truth, grace, patience, and responsibility. Continue becoming the person you are called to be, regardless of who walks beside you, because your character is one of the greatest gifts you will ever bring into any relationship. May this story leave you with encouragement rather than certainty about the future, with peace rather than fear, and with hope that inspires wise choices. The next chapter of your life has not yet been written, and that is a beautiful reminder that every new day holds possibilities waiting to be discovered. The story ends here, but your own journey continues. Walk into it with courage, extend kindness freely, welcome wisdom wherever it appears, and remember that the most meaningful surprises are often the ones that gently transform the heart long before they change the circumstances around it.